What's happening, folks? Back with another reaction, back with some more U2. And we're returning to Achtung Baby, 1991. And the next track in the playlist is Until the End of the World, which has a poetry to it, although it feels a bit apocalyptic. Of course, the world could end not with a bang, but with a whimper, to use a famous phrase. Of course, it could end much more quickly than scientists or prognosticators think, which is to say, on the surface it sounds like a time far, far in the future when none of us alive now would be around. But if there were some catastrophic event, either external or internal, the world, whether that means a planet like the Earth, or the cultural, social world, or even the biological world, that could end much more soon or much more quickly, if circumstances that are not currently in our mind obtain. So yeah, there's, again, a poetry to it, there's also a finality to it, and yet it's actually referring to everything that will happen between now and then. So yeah, there's a lot on offer in the title, but I don't quite know what to expect or which direction it may go. Let's see what I can pick up on a first listen. This is U2. The track is Until the End of the World, and it's from their 1991 album Achtung Baby. it seemed like when I reacted to one, that was like one of people's favorite tracks. At least a few of you said that. A number of you seem to be very, very fond of it, and I completely get that. And so this is a really impressive tune to follow up a tune like that. I talk about it in my DJ mixes. Like, if you have a lot of marquee tunes, sometimes they kind of like get in each other's way, and sometimes you need a track that keeps the vibe, keeps the atmosphere, but also allows tracks around it to stand out a little bit more. And of course, a DJ mix is different than an album, but I feel like it's impressive to follow up a tune as good as one with a tune like this that really got my attention for multiple reasons. First of all, it feels a bit epic and apocalyptic, but also sort of mellow and groovy at the same time. And even in the vocals, not just the sonics, like the instrument parts, but even the vocals had a bit of that contradiction. And then some of the lines feel a bit contradictory, like you're drowning in sorrows, but then your sorrows learned how to swim. Waves of, what was it? Like something good, like waves, not enjoyment, but it was waves of something positive, and then waves of regret. Those are contradictory or completely on the other end of the spectrum. Reaching out to the one you tried to destroy. All these things seem at odds with each other, so it feels like the lyrics were expressing these dualistic or bipolar concepts and imagery in the same way the sonics were on one end and the other at the same time. So I'm really intrigued by that. Now, the start feels very visual, and of course, they could be metaphor, it could be figurative, but like he hasn't seen this other person in a while. He was in a room down the hall just kind of killing time. But then this other person, when they interact, it's like they're talking like it's the end of the world, they're acting like it's the end of the world. And then what was it? There was another version of it, something like, I don't think it was waiting, but it was like, it was still suggesting that there's some distance between now and the end of the world, and something about their interaction will constitute whatever will happen between now and then. So yeah, again, it's the kind of tune I have to hear again and let it wash over me. One of the cool things about doing these reactions, especially in a deep dive that has as much interest and commentary as this one has come to have, is that I get a lot of feedback right away, people quoting parts of the lyrics, people offering their own interpretations, or sometimes quotes from the artist, in this case maybe Bono. But yeah, so I imagine before I even listen to it multiple times, I'll get a better sense based on what people will say. But yes, it's the kind of tune that over the years, as I would listen to albums and records that I would get, that I would sort of, let wash over me and digest over successive hearings, both, sonically and lyrically. But a really compelling tune. And again, it doesn't sound like their stuff in the 80s. It definitely sounds different. Even if, again, some of the guitar work you could say, you can tell that it's Edge's guitar. Obviously, Bono has a very distinctive voice, whether he's, fiery with rasp or more smooth and melodic. So again, it's characteristically U2, and yet again, I can definitely hear an evolution of their sound at this point. So another really cool tune, and again, very impressive to follow on the heels of a tune like one that grabbed my attention in pretty much every respect. So let me know what you think, and I'll see you for the next one. Peace.